Look at you, stuck in the web of procrastination and lacking discipline. It's time to admit that you've been avoiding responsibilities and it's holding you back. Stop sugarcoating your failures with these flimsy excuses. You know very well that laziness and distractions have been ruling your life. You've become complacent with mediocrity, choosing comfort over growth. Well, guess what? Real change demands discomfort, and you must embrace it. Recognize your lack of discipline has cost you precious opportunities. The time wasted cannot be recovered, but you can make amends starting right now. Deep down, you know you have untapped potential. It's time to unleash it and stop hiding behind your procrastination as an excuse. Procrastination is often the result of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. It's time to confront these fears and break free. Discipline might seem like a foreign concept to you right now, but it takes time to face the music and make discipline your new best friend. You've been avoiding accountability, but it's time to take responsibility for your actions. Hold yourself accountable for your progress, or the lack thereof. Feel the weight of regret for all the time wasted and opportunities missed. Let it fuel your determination to change and make the most of every moment moving forward. Change won't happen overnight, and it won't be easy, but you're not looking for easy. You are looking for growth. Embrace the process, and you'll come out stronger. Oh, look at you, drowning in a sea of indecision and inaction. Your inability to make choices or stick to a plan is pathetic. Stop trying to cover up your laziness with those pathetic excuses. Nobody buys them, not even yourself. Just think about all the potential you've wasted by wallowing in your lack of discipline. It's truly, truly sickening. You're nothing more than a slave to comfort and instant gratification. You can't even withstand the slightest bit of discomfort to achieve your goals. Your willpower is laughable, and your mind is even weaker. It's time to toughen up, Buttercup, and take control. While you're busy procrastinating, the world just keeps moving forward. Your lack of discipline is causing you to fall way behind. You've become a master of self-sabotage, always finding ways to hinder your progress. It's time to break free from this vicious cycle. Congratulations, you've built a cozy nest in the land of mediocrity. How does it feel to be just average? Or maybe below average? Way below average. You don't need coddling. You need a reality check. Stop babying yourself and face the truth. You are weak. Enough is enough. Rise from the ashes of your weaknesses and become the disciplined, proactive force you know that you can be. Or don't. And stay exactly as you are.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome, friends and family. Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. So happy to have you here on this amazing Tuesday night. How is everyone doing tonight? So, tonight's show is a Q&A show where we are going to go through different questions that I've sourced from the web, and primarily, if you guys have any questions, I will definitely answer your questions as well. And it just hit me today. I'm like, maybe going in the future on these Tuesday nights, I can open up a phone line so you can call me and we can have this chat live. I don't know. I got to think about how that can work. I'm not too familiar with that yet, so I'm gonna look into it and we'll figure that out. All right. But let's get into our agenda for tonight's show, and we will do the rundown and we'll get into it. All right. So, first and foremost, thank you to all the latest subscribers to the channel. It is amazing having you here. I hope I can add great value into your lives. If you are on a tech journey, or you're maybe just interested in tech, maybe you know most of this stuff already, but you just want some more information. Maybe you want to grow in a particular field, whatever the case may be, and you subscribe to the channel. I hope that I'm adding tons and tons of value into your life. And, and if there's any information that you are looking for or any insight that I can give you, please do not hesitate to ask. You can send me an email, you can talk to me in the chat, you can leave me a comment on the video, whatever the case may be, So, and I just wanted to shout out 2 of the newest subscribers that I could see. So, first and foremost, shout out to Hugh31.
I appreciate you.
Welcome to the channel, Hugh. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope to add great value into your life and hope to actually talk to you soon. Hopefully we get to have a conversation. And
I appreciate you.
welcome to the channel, Renaissance Mama. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I can add great value into your life. Like I said earlier, you can email me, you can leave me a comment, you can talk in the chat, whatever the case may be, and we'll go from there. All right. And all the other newest subscribers that I can't see, welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. Everyone's open to send me an email and go from there. All right. Next thing that's up. So, shout out to my barbarians in the Patreon who are we are working, all we do is work, we are working, we are leveling up, we're getting skills, right? So we can be savages, we can be vicious, we can be barbarians. We are here to win. As the hat always says, we are engineered to win. Nothing matters but the results. So we are goal driven, we are result driven. So, and this Monday had a few coaching calls, right, with some of the members, and created we're working on a little project as well, so it's for you. Like I told them, I work for you. So, and that's how we do it. All right. So, shout out to the barbarians one more time, to the newest Patreon members. We are going to do great things. So, if you have not for tiers, seats are limited. So, once it's gone, it's gone unless somebody is willing to give up their spot for you. And we'll see. We'll see how that goes, So let me put this up in case anybody wants to go over there. Boom. There you go. So join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/techcoachralph. See what's in there. I'll tell you this. Yesterday morning, I released to the 2 top tiers a video of me going over my resume, and I'm updating the resume, saying why I'm making these changes, why I put, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how from me being doing interviews for a long time and having to be interviewed, right? Some of the strategies that I did, but the very first thing is the resume, because if your resume is not good, you're not getting anywhere, right? And to add, I had a call on Saturday with a 20-year HR professional, right? And I asked her about resumes and what makes somebody get contacted and what makes someone get ignored, for lack of a better term, right? And what she told me was she told me that it'll be in the Patreon. That's what she told me. All right. So and she has agreed to, once we figure out the date and time, that she will come on a call with the top level Patreon members where she can share that same insight she shared with me, and they can ask her questions about the hiring process, what they can do. But that's going to be for the top level patrons, my tech barbarians elite. All right. So, but I might record it for the lower level Patreon members, right? Because I think that's valuable information for them too. But if you ever want to see that video, you will have to be a member of the Patreon. So 3 tiers, your choice. Great value in every single tier. All right. That video that I mentioned of me updating my resume, it will be available for all tiers in the Patreon Friday morning. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? All right. So let's see what's next. And shout out to the Patreon. Honestly, when you sign up for the Patreon, you're purchasing a piece of my mind, the way that I think. It's like Russell Crowe in a Beautiful Mind, outside of the schizophrenia, or maybe I do see people walking around. I don't know, right? But you know what I see the most? I see victory. I see winning. I see success. That's what I see. That's the people that I see walking around. When I talk to my, I'll throw out an example. When I talk to my my number 1 member, my right hand, Stephanie, I see success. I see victory. I see future greatness. No, not even future greatness. I already see greatness. All right, I already see greatness. So you know what to do, right? The link's there. I'm gonna even put it in the chat. Hold on. Let's do this, all right? Let's do that. And then things in the way. All right. There we go. So now you have no excuse. The link is in the description and pinned to the top of the chat. All right. So let's do that. And we come back over here. All right. And let me see what else is there before we get into the show. All right. So now, next up, our show schedules, right? So our live shows are Sunday afternoons, Software Explorations. This Sunday,
Message.
we are transitioning to DevOps. We are moving away from all the QA stuff that we were doing these past few weeks on Sundays, and we are moving into DevOps. Why are we moving to DevOps, you may ask? Well, because I found out in my career that there is a lot of DevOps related things that I've had to do in QA, specifically about like setting up infrastructure to be able to run QA tests or setting up reporting and stuff like that. For instance, when we did the report portal installation, right? That was related to DevOps because you had to go in there, set up an AWS, use Docker to install it, all that good stuff, right? And when we did the Kiwi, right, we needed to use Docker and all that type of stuff, right? And like when you're if you're a QA who deploys software, right, and you're going through the CI/CD process, that's part of DevOps as well, you know. So we are transitioning into that, but we are going to focus first on figuring out how to use Terraform because I personally have a pressing need to learn how to use Terraform. So we are going to learn it together. Hope to see you there. And so that's this Sunday coming up. Tuesday nights are Q&A shows like we are doing tonight. And we already have a question in the chat, which we will be addressing first. Right? And then Thursday nights, we have software explorations. We are going to stick to QA on Thursday nights for now, but things can always change. So if you are interested in QA, you better jump on board and get all the information that you can. Okay? So once again, Sunday afternoons, 2:15, software explorations. Right now going to DevOps. Tuesday nights, Q&A session like tonight. Thursday nights, software explorations with a focusing on QA. All right, shout out to the live shows. I have a lot of fun on the live shows. All right, now our pre-recorded shows, right? Mondays at noon. All times are at noon Eastern time. Mondays we have candid conversations, right? They've been even when I have to listen to them again, I'm like, wow, that was deep. All right. So, you know, check out the candid conversations because they will definitely help you in your mindset and in your careers. All right. We don't have time for poopy pants. All right. Shout out to the poopy pants. We don't have time for that. We get to work and we have to develop that mindset to put in the work. All right. And then Wednesdays, we have software explorations, concept and overviews. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? We're going to be talking about retesting and regression testing as part of the software development lifecycle. All right. And Fridays, we have the bug bite where we review different industry related bugs. And last week, Friday, we spoke about a massive pandemic bug that took place in 2005 that barely anybody knew about. Yeah, it was global, but barely anybody knew about it. So check it out. That was a very fun one. So, fun about a pandemic is as fun as it can be, right? So, so definitely check that out. So once again, Mondays, candid conversations, Wednesdays, software explorations, concept and overviews, and Fridays, the bug bite. And then throughout the week, we have clips from this particular show that is being released Monday through Friday, 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:00 Central, noon Pacific. All right. So shout out to the shows. Shout out to all the content that is providing great value into so many people's lives. But guess what? It provides more value into my life because now when I release these videos, then I start to get these cool interactions with these wonderful people. And now I'm making like friends left and right, and we're able to build together. And so it's just amazing, like the amount of people that I've been able to come in contact with, which I will touch on that in just a moment. All right. So shout out to that. All right. So I love it. It's a lot of work to create the videos, but the energy that comes back from creating the videos, the people that you get to meet, the different thoughts and ideas that you get to have, it's amazing. All right. So one more time. And like I mentioned the Patreon earlier, I like everywhere that I've been, right? They always say to me after I start working there, they might have been skeptical at first, right? But after I start working there, they're like, "Oh man, I just wish I could clone you." Like it's so hard to find, that type of talent. I wish I could clone you. Wish there was another one of you. So my top tier, they will be my clones. I'm gonna work very, very closely. I'll bring someone up on a call and we'll have a conversation about the types of things that we do. But once space runs out, then you will be on the outside looking in. Like DJ Khaled says, you either win with us or you watch us win. That's the sound that you'll be hearing while you are on the outside looking in, window shopping. All right. Now, if you haven't done so yet, like the video, like it, doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. Like the video, share the video with somebody who will find it useful. Subscribe to the channel. Come on, let's go. Subscribe to the channel. Talk to me in the chat. I'm dying to talk to you guys. I know you guys have questions. Maybe you're in a boot camp and you don't know what to do next. Are you wondering if you should try to go and find a manual testing job, or should you go straight into automation? Ask me in the chat. Have you looked for any manual jobs yet? How many of them are out there? Ask me in the chat. And if you come on Thursday night or Saturday, or not Saturday, or Sunday, then we can even look for these jobs together. The other day, I forgot who particularly was in the chat, but they asked about was it like product management, and we on breaks we went and we looked it up to see what jobs are out there. And the pay and the location and all that type of stuff. So if you have questions, come and get them answered. All right. So like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's talk. All right. And that is that. So before we move on, so this is the show format for tonight. Oh, actually, no. Before we do that, let's have a quick conversation, right? For the longest time, different people have always wanted to like work with me, and I'm very hesitant. Like I'm hesitant, but at the same time, I like to give like the opportunity, right? But what I always tend to see that like they'll be in it for a moment and then they fall off, and it's like they just drop it, and I'm like, all right, so at least I was able to whatever I decide to do, I make sure that I'm going to learn something out of it, right? So for instance, I was working on this project years ago on this app that they wanted to create. And I had never really did any development in Node. So I used that as an opportunity to learn like some of the ins and outs, building an API for it and all that good stuff, right? But it's like as soon as people get some type of different priority or something, they just drop everything and they shift, and I think that is like that holds us back, right? I think that holds us back, and when you don't, number one, when people don't value your time, then you gotta get up out of there, right? A lot of like people, when you don't make your time cost something, then they are not going to value it. And when they don't value your time and you accept it, then you don't value your time, right? Which leads me into my next point, right? problem is, and this is something that I've always believed, I always felt, when just because somebody shares your bloodline, your name, or something to that extent, to me personally, that doesn't necessarily make you family or whatever. You guys like relatives, right? But I've always seen it as the people who are going in the same direction as you, the people who have the same mindset as you, the people who want to win with you, right? Those are the people that I see as my family, my friends, right? Can be cool, you know, but like I tell my barbarians that you know what I want to see you guys win, my like whatever you guys need, my time is for you, right? Whether it's looking for helping them look for jobs, building their resume, trying to strategize. I would say like the best thing that I do is I'm a strategist, right? I already see Don in the chat now, right? I've been talking to Don a lot lately, and he's sending me a lot of things, and I'm thinking like, okay, how can we strategize with this? You know, what can we do to make this even like as remarkable as it is now? How can we make this more remarkable? All right, because to me, Don is a genius, right? But I want to take that geniusness, if that's a word, and do something cool with it. You know, but when I talk to someone like Don and I see that mindset that we share, I'm like, okay, that's a cool. Don is cool. That's like that's family. You know, so I'm telling you, like I'm building a family of barbarians. That's what it is. So you guys, I recommend you pick your family. Don't let your family pick you. All right. Well, that's that. So much for that. All right. So show format. We're gonna do 5 minutes per question, and let me see something real quick. Let me move this actually. Let me move this up. Move this down here. Let's do that. Or over here. I don't know. I like it over here. Doesn't look good. All right, let's go with this. Yeah, we're just gonna build it as we fly. All right. So we'll put it over here. And like I said, 5 minutes per question, which is usually more than that, but 5 minutes per question, and then we will go on to the next question. All right. Let me do this first. Not that one. Let's go like that. And I do not know what happened last time on Sunday when the stream just cut off, but we are going to try to avoid that tonight. All right. So let's do this. All right. So getting set up. And let's put the timer up on the clock. And let's start off with the questions in the chat. Move this up here, just trying to get organized a little bit so I can see everything. All right. First and foremost, let me make that a little bigger as well. I don't think it's going to get much bigger. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's go here. All right. Let's do it like this. All right. We're going to move this to this side. I'm gonna move this down over here, and let's see how that works. All right. So, welcome to the show, Sashin. Great to have you here, and you have our first question. Have you ever tried FFmpeg live transcoding? So let's put our time up. And to answer your question specifically, so in what way are you referring to, right? Do you mean from a testing perspective, or if I've like wrote code to actually do it? If it's the latter, then the answer would be I haven't wrote code to do it, but in my everyday job, I work for a video company, and we do actually do FFmpeg live transcoding, and I'm responsible for testing that. I've created different strategies for testing it, for like whether it's for live transcoding or if it's for like pre-recorded content. And but we use different technologies to verify like video data, to encode the video, all of that stuff. And it was when I started earlier this year, it was definitely a new domain for me. I mean, back in like around the time that YouTube first came out, like in the mid 2000s, like there were, I played around with encoding video and stuff like that, but at that time they didn't really have the live feature, which if they did, I probably would have tried to mess with that too. But I remember like going through codecs at 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to figure out how to make a YouTube clone and everything like that. So for the FFmpeg live transcoding in particular, I haven't done that, but I've seen how it's done at work. I've written some FFmpeg commands to like validate video data, as in like some of the keyframes, the timestamps. I don't even remember exactly what, like, but there's different FFmpegs that we commands that we use. Like there was another one where I used it to validate the count of how many frames in the video. So, and then like when working with the M3U8 files, which is pretty much the manifest files, right? So they have like variant manifest, quality manifest, things like that. So when a video is being broadcasted live, it's writing to that manifest file, to the live manifest, where it knows what segments to play next. So if you're interested in that information, I would definitely check out read more about FFmpeg, and then also read more about M3U8/HLS streaming. Very cool technology. I'm having the time of my life working with that technology, because I think video is super cool. When you see like this video, for instance, that's being streamed live on YouTube, right? Tried to stream it on Facebook, but I think I'm done with Facebook. I can't stand it. All right. Anyways, like I was saying, when you see like these technologies that you use, and now you start to understand how they work, right? Now you start looking more deeply into it. Say, oh, okay, now I see how YouTube is streaming this video, and I see, and like I went to, I think if you look at an older video, where I was going live through, and I think I had a pre-recorded too, where I spoke about the M3U8 parser, but actually implementing the M3U8 parser to be able to pull out the manifest files from these different sites, that stream. Like the example that we used was Flow Grappling, and we were able to pull out a video of my competition from there and see like how they stream it on the site, how it loads. It's not like it's loading an entire MP4 file. It's little chunks of video. Like I think they were using like 5-second segments for theirs, so it's very, very cool technology. I love it. And I would definitely advise you to investigate more into it. It's very good, very good. Yeah, but if you have any follow-up questions to this one, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll answer any question that you have. All right. So shout out to that question. Thank you so much for being in the chat session. All right. you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the Tech Coach Ralph Patreon. The link is pinned to the top of the chat, and it's also right there, right? Let's do it this way, right there. Okay. Next up, we have my man Don Johnson in the chat. What up, Don? How's it going?
I appreciate you.
So Don says, HashiCorp certified Terraform associate. Shout out to you for that.
We the best.
Yes, we are. And Don also says, poopy pants equals none. Don has the best coding skills. Poopy, and he wrote it in Python. Yup, I can tell. I can tell by the syntax he wrote it in Python. Shout out to you, Don, once again, because we do not believe in poopy pants. And in the next few months, Don, you're going to see something really, really cool coming out on that topic. All right. So shout out to Don, as always, for hanging with me on this amazing Tuesday night. All right. All right. Let's get into our second question. So, like I said, if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, level up your tech career, join the Patreon. Link is right there, and it's pinned to the top of the chat. But let's move on to our second question.
Another one.
So this one says, we're gonna need the soundboard for this one. I just found out none of my colleagues like me. So I moved across the country for this job about a year ago. I started remote in my home state, and the rest of my team was in office until I was able to relocate permanently. I went into work, did the work happy hours, made an effort to casually say hi over Teams and shoot the beep. But I realized I had little to nothing in common with them, and they all had very similar interests and things. I felt a bit isolated. We have each other on IG and even text from time to time. I am also the only person of color on the team. What? All right. Today, I found out that I am not part of a group chat on IG. From our temp during one of our happy hours, she's apparently in it. The temp is in the group, but not you? All right. And when she brought it up in front of me, everyone looked around and got very quiet. I didn't ask because I figured I wasn't told for a reason. But everyone was texting under the table for the rest of the evening, and I just decided to leave. I know it's not me. Of course, it's not you. I have really great friends at my old jobs, like close personal friends. And I've made several new friends in my new city. I go to concerts and sports games and all sorts of things. But by all accounts, I'm pretty interesting. Yes, you are. And I'm usually told I'm warm and kind. I have noticed that when I talk to my coworkers, they pause and look at each other before they respond, and it's always just unnatural. One rolls her eyes anytime I join the conversation, and if I bring up conversation, it's usually dead within seconds. I'm a bit more reserved, but I talk when needed. I like meeting new people and asking questions. it's just very hard because I want to enjoy my work life that I moved across the country for, and I just don't. I think it's isolation and a bit of bullying because I know I show up and as myself every day, but it is still hurtful.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Well, that sucks to hear. That is sucks to hear. But here is my take on that. let's read Don's take before I give my take. All right. So let's start our clock. Where is our clock? We're gonna go with our 5 minutes. And Don says, if the company is full with trust fund chads, you're not missing out. Okay, so that is Don's perspective, and here is mine. Every job that I have signed up to do, I didn't sign up to be best friends with the receptionist or with any particular team members or anything to that extent, right? I am there to do awesome work, and I focus on my work, right? And through my work, if people want to interact with me, then I am more than happy, more than willing to interact and be friendly and, shoot the beep, as you mentioned, right?
Message.
But my primary goal is absolutely not to go out there to look to be best friends with anyone. In actuality, I've been great friends with many of my coworkers, right? But that was never my original goal, never my original concern. My concern is to do great work. The most important thing to me personally is the quality of my work, the value that I bring to my coworkers, to my organization, to the customers, to my Patreon members, to my YouTube subscribers. That's my number one concern. That is my obligation, right? That's what I signed up to do. I didn't sign up to be. There was never in the contract that or the work requirements, whatever it might be, right, to be best friends with any particular coworker or any particular person who is not subscribed to my Patreon or who's not subscribed to my channel. Just not in the cards. I don't think I could accept that position if it was, well, you have to be close friends with whoever it might be, right? The reason that I've enjoyed every single job that I've done because I enjoy the work. That's what's important to me. The work is important, not the social gatherings. Like honestly, if I go to a happy hour or something like that, because I barely drink in the first place, right? But if I go to a happy hour, I'm like, all right, there, because you're invited and everything like that. But if I wasn't invited, I wouldn't be like crying over it. But all right, cool, because I've said this before, right? When I clock out of one place, I clock in another place. My calendar is always full. Everything I do is work. So I had to find a way to always enjoy my work because everything I do is work. When I go on vacation, I'm bringing work with me, right? And that's the mindset that I go by. Because the most important thing to me is the work. I'll be getting work emails from Don and we don't work for the same company, but the emails that he sends me with all his amazing ideas, those are work emails to me. I'm like, okay, this is good. We have to strategize around it. We have to do something amazing with it. And these work emails come we're like 3 hours apart in time zones, and they're coming in like all times of day, all times of night, and I'm cataloging it. I'm like, all right, cool. I got to review it, and we're gonna do something with it. But I'm not looking for I'm getting all this stuff ready, but Susan, she doesn't like me for whatever reason. I don't care. I don't care. Do the checks show up on time? Yes. Do they like the work that I do? Yes. You know? So what's the problem? Did you move across the country for the job to do the work, or did you move across the country to make friends with your coworkers? And why does it matter? Like you said, you have friends, you have family outside of that. At your old job, you guys are besties. At your friends that you met in the area, you guys are besties. Why do you need work besties? I don't believe in water cooler talk. I bring my own water. See, the problem is that we don't. The problem is that we're always looking for something else. You're looking for a job, you got a job, and now you're looking to be best friends. To people who don't really like, if somebody doesn't want to be your friend, they don't want to be your friend. Okay, so what? Do your job. Do your job.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Get back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
Get back to work. All right? Stop focusing on all this little petty stuff. You know? You're not in the group chat. Good. Now you don't have to waste time with a bunch of memes and stuff filling up your phone. Come on. All right. So shout out to that question. Shout out to, you know what? Shout out to all the group chats that I am not in. Thank you for that. Shout out to all the people who don't like me, who don't care for me, who hate me, whoever they may be. I thank you. You know what?
I appreciate you.
All right, let's move on. Hopefully that helped you and you feel better. And Don says, let them chat. Ralph and myself will deliver a month's of work in a few days. Facts. All we do is work. And Don's seen my calendar availability. You know, and I am going to go schedule those meetings. Don't worry, John. I got you, Don. And Don says, no matter what company you work for, there will always be haters. Shout out to the haters. Yep, I love it. I embrace it. All right, we are moving on to our next question. All right, so if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, talk to me in the chat. All right, you see Donna's talking to me. That's great. Where's everybody else? Come on, let's go. And if you want to level up your career in tech, join the Patreon. All right, link is right here, right there, something like that. Okay, so next up,
Another one.
this says, what should I know how to do before going into my first tester role? I am seeking a manual software job, and this would be my first IT job. I have the ISTQB Foundation certificate, which has taught me a lot. I mean, a lot of terminology and concepts, but nothing practical, really. And sidebar, Your Honor, I see that a lot. I'll ask, like, when I'm, working with some people, and I'll ask them a practical question and they start, regurgitating a bunch of conceptual stuff and they just go and go and go. It's like it's like a book, right? And they're just spitting it out, just letting it out. That's how it sounds like to me, right? And then once they get done with their soliloquy, I'm like, okay, so how would you do it? Well, I would go here and then I'll do this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but you left out like 5 different things to look into and this and that. And I'm like, so you, my friend, are correct. You might have a lot of terminology and concepts. So you can probably write a whole book on it, but I do understand when you say you have nothing practical. Okay, so so he continues. I've been learning SQL queries as well as Selenium automation, testing, and Python in my spare time. I can also write basic test cases on Excel for black box tests. My question is ideally what techniques, tools, anything should I really already know how to do before being hired for a manual tester role. I'm pretty apprehensive about applying and interviews as I'm worried I won't know enough. So that is actually a amazing question. Let me get Dawn off the screen. That's an amazing question, right? And I like that you are asking early and taking initiative. Let's see, one more thing. All right. So I would say this, right? So let's go in order, right? Let's put the 5 minutes up. What you need to, the tools that you need to learn, right? I mean, you pretty much mentioned it, right? But I would say it's not necessarily about tools that you need to learn, as opposed to number one, you need to develop your critical thinking skills, right? From the ISTQB Foundation certificate stuff, right? That you have the terminology. I can't like they be throwing out these big complicated words, and I'm like, look, my vocabulary does not go that deep. So can you dumb it down a little bit for me, right? And then once they dumb it down, they can't actually answer the question. So and here's the funny thing, right? If I'm interviewing somebody and that's like they start rambling off with that answer, I immediately be like, all right, when I like, all right, are you done yet? Because I want the answer that is going to help the company, not the one that's going to make you sound intelligent because you're using a bunch of big words, So with that being said, I would start working on your QA portfolio, right? Oh, tech coach Ralph, what is a QA portfolio? Well, you should go and look up the video for how to build your own QA portfolio. And in that, when we were doing that, we used Docker to install a test case management system called Kiwi test case management system. And in that, then we went in there, we wrote some test cases, right? We created some defects, and we did it on real websites. It's not like these practice websites where it's like some item in the cart called green jacket, right? No, what we did was, for example, we went to ASOS.com, a e-commerce clothing site, and we navigated through the site. We wrote a test case on how to do the checkout, how to do the how to check out as a registered user, how to check out as a new user, how to check out as a user who's creating an account for the first time. Just different things to stimulate your mind, how to write these test cases, and then if there's chances are you're not going to find a bug on the site, right? But you just make up a bug and how you'd report it. Show the people who you're looking to interview you how you would write it, how you'd write your bug reports, all that stuff, right? Very important. To me, I think if I'm interviewing somebody and they say, and I ask them oh, so how do you how do you continue to learn and everything like that? He says, oh well, I see that you don't have that much experience. You're just getting into it. How are you learning all this stuff? And he says, oh, this is how I'm doing it. I'm subscribed to Tech Coach Ralph. I'll definitely like eyes would open wide, like, oh, you are? Okay, that sounds amazing. But it says, and he had me build a portfolio. I'm like, oh, really? Can I see your portfolio? And then they show me their screen and they log into, they start up Docker. I'm like, oh wow, Docker as an entry level, that's impressive, right? If I see Docker on your resume, I'm going to ask you about it, especially if you don't have that much experience. I'm going to ask you like, okay, tell me about how do you know Docker? And he says, oh yeah, well, Tech Coach Ralph encourages us to try out these new technologies. So I went ahead and I got installed Docker, and then I installed test case the Kiwi software through it, and then I created these test cases, these test plans. I created these defects. I executed the tests. I automated. I'm like, oh wow, that is very impressive. You are showing great initiative. And they say, oh yeah, take a look at my code, right? My automation code. And if you were in the Patreon and you submitted it to Tech Coach Ralph to review for you, right, to do a code review for you, where he would show you how to create a pull request on GitHub, and you can submit it, and then on the live show he would be reviewing it for you, giving you feedback, right? And then so now when you go to show your code, it looks amazing, right? And like, wow, you're doing this and you don't really have much experience yet. Like, yeah, but I know that projects is another way to get experience. So I've created all these projects, and I'm ready to. And then, if I was working with Tech Coach Ralph, then he would put me in an environment to work as if I'm actually working in a real job, right? So then I would have my too much. All right, I gotta save that information, right? So if you want the rest, you're gonna have to join the Patreon, because I will set you up on a path for success. Because everywhere that you're getting your information from, right, it's not giving you all the full details, right? Because they don't have the capacity, right? They're cycling new students in and out, right? And then the Udemy courses, for example, Coursera courses, they're very focused on the topic that they're trying to teach you. So, and to me, that helps me a lot, because now while they're focusing on the specific details of what you need to learn to do a particular job, I'm getting you work ready, right? I get you work ready. They give you the skills to actually be able to do the job. I prepare you for how to work on your team, how to add value. My number one goal, adding value, right? So if you're not adding value, then, if you don't know how to structure your resume and you're not getting any contact, that's on you. If you're fumbling in the interview, that's on you. Like, you're lucky to even get contacted for an interview. But if you don't know how to handle an interview, right, you're not prepared for it, then that's on you. All right. So now for the last part where you asked about applying, right? I would say make sure your resume is decent, right? And then start applying, because from the time that you're ready to work, and I remember this conversation, right? Had to be like, how old am I now? Had to be like 18 years ago, right? Somebody that I was, doesn't matter who they are, right? But they had got fired from their job, and they said, oh, I said, like, so what are you gonna do? And they said, oh, so and so told me I should take some time off before going, like take a month off before going for another job. And I'm like, take a month off? Like, how can you afford to take a month off? Like, we're like, and what do you got to do? We're like 20 years old. Like, what do you got to do? Like, that didn't make any sense to me. We were all broke at the time, but people can afford to take time off. I don't know. Anyways, but that was then. And so the point is, like, but then, yeah, when they were actually, after their month off, it took them another like 3 to 4 months to actually find a job, right? So so the moral of the story is, get your resume right, start applying now. Just apply, like, and let's say you're not like, you need to fail in your interviews, right? You need to see all those rejection letters that you're going to be getting, but it's better to get them now. And then when you actually do get an interview, and then you get like, you do a terrible job in the interview, right? Because we all do terrible jobs in some interviews, right? But we need to build that practice. We need to build that confidence. So start applying now. Fail forward. You're going to fail. You're going to fail again. You're going to fail again. But you just need one person to say yes, right? And you never know. What if on your first or second job, you actually application, you get contacted and they like you and they say, oh, he's new. We're going to work with him. We're looking for an entry level person, and they're going to work with you. What gives, right? So get to it now. Don't wait. Don't waste your time. Start applying now, and you never know what might happen. All right. So shout out to that question. All right. Let's see here. Alrighty, right. So one more thing. Okay, let's get going to our next question. All right, so like I said earlier, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, level up your career in tech, join the Patreon, become a tech barbarian or a tech prodigy. Spots are limited, but even as a tech explorer, you will get great tons and tons of information. So sign up today. All right. So next question.
Another one.
One more time.
Another one.
So this question says, does software development engineering test or software engineering test or quality assurance engineer have good long-term prospects in the US? Interesting question. Okay. So I've noticed I noticed there seems to be tons of, and tons is in all caps, tons of these jobs overseas, especially in India. Is this a good long-term career to take on in the US? It also seems like very often there's only one test engineer on a team so that they can't learn from anyone else. So the first question, if it's a good long-term prospect in the US, the answer, in my opinion, is yes. It is a good long-term career because the type of jobs in the US, if it's possible to outsource, are, I would say it's the low-hanging fruit jobs, right? The jobs that pretty much anybody could do it, but it costs too much to do here, right? Now the jobs that are longer, like the jobs that are longer term and that are going to be based here, and this is totally my opinion, right? Could be totally wrong about this, right? But those are the jobs that are that require critical thinking. It requires innovation. It requires like close collaboration and teamwork. And the example from, let's say, software engineering, right? If you put the software engineer and a software, like a QA engineer, right, who like does, like, they focus on automation and all that type of stuff on Docker, like pretty much if you focus on the things that I tell you to learn, then you're going to be needed here, right? Not to mention, if you are sending just like, pre-decided test cases over to another country, like to offshore it and stuff like that, yeah, they can write up everything for you, right? They just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they write it. But the problem comes in, we need an actual engineer, not somebody who's just going to follow the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need an actual engineer who's going to be developing and building this stuff, right? One quick second, something I just noticed. Let's see. See how that looks. Yeah, I had extra light on. All right, cool. So, do I like this? Not really. I think it works. Anyways, so like I was saying, if it's something that's like easily done, right? You don't need much collaboration with it. Yeah, then you're gonna send it off overseas, right? But if you need close collaboration with it, and you need it to be like you need to be working closely with the engineers, so you can be like lockstep, where you can be. And here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. No one's going to care for your product or application as much as the people who actually work for the company, right? So if you are using contractors to be your actual engineers, your software development engineers, right? Um, it's gonna be tough. It's a lot tougher to do it that way. Okay, so so that's why I say that they're always gonna be needed here, right? I work for a company full of QA, full of QA engineers from levels specialists all the way to staff, principal, QA engineers. Not to mention the ones that are on the managerial side who are also um, QA engineers, just on a managerial side. You know. Now, for your question, for part of your question about there seems to be very often one test engineer on a team. Your conclusion doesn't make any sense because you said so they can't learn from anyone else. Who do you want them to learn from? What is the company's responsibility? Is it so that they can teach the software engineers, the test engineers? If that's what you think their responsibility is, then to me, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, whatever my 15 years of QA worth, my 20 years in tech is worth, right? It is not their job to teach you. It is your job to go out and learn, right? So now, if the company doesn't have the resources necessary for you to be able to get better, then you have to go and sign up for the Patreon, right? You got to become a barbarian. And then not only will you learn new skills, new tools that you can use in your everyday job, you're also going to let go of that, the poopy pants mindset where, oh, what's going to happen in the US? Is my job going to be sent overseas? If your job is about to be sent overseas, you should have already been leveling up. Should have seen the signs coming. So that's why it's an emphatic yes for me that these like the top level jobs that require like they're paying for your mind, they're paying for your brain. They're not paying for your presence, they're paying for your mind, what you have up here. Not what you can do with your hands, right? Not how well you can follow directions. If I was at my job and all I did was like follow directions and say, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna do exactly what somebody tells me," they wouldn't need me. They could just automate that, right? No, but I'm there because like every job I've been at, it's been because of how I think. It's like I said earlier, I strategize, right? It's because of these strategies that like if you ask one of my barbarians, right? I was talking to one of them on Sunday, right? And then on Sunday afternoon, I got an idea like, oh, we can do this. That's going to help each and every one of you to be more job ready and to have something to put on your resume to get a job, right? And then by Monday afternoon, I had a whole thing in place, everything set in everything in motion, right? So the U.S. is going to be fine. Now, the lower level jobs where they like if someone is just automating something that I tell them to automate, yeah, that's probably going to get sent over to another country. But just like manual testing is being sent over to other places, and you guys are going through these boot camps looking for manual testing, like taking manual testing, think you're going to be making like $70,000 a year in your first position as a manual tester, and then you see that it's been months, right? And there's no manual testing job in sight. And now you're like out of 10 grand and you don't know what to do because you paid all this money for a job that you did not research adequately, you know? Well, that's how the cookie crumbles. Give me a second to brighten up the lighting a little bit, all right?
Another one.
Thank you, good guy. You saved my life there because I was gonna keep going. Thank you so much, good guy. All right. We shall start that question over again.
Another one.
All right. So it says how to get from software testing to security testing and maybe even ethical hacking. Ethical, of course, always ethical. All right. So at the moment, I am in the process of trying to get into a software testing traineeship, as I have found that I really like programming, but my skills aren't strong enough yet to get into software development. Through that, my dad, shout out to the fathers out there, actually suggested that I could get into security testing if that was something I was interested in. I've read up on it and I'm super stoked. And right now, I think that's where I really want to end up eventually. However, I will need to start. However, I will need to start off with the basics. My recruiter asked me what role in software testing I was particularly interested in, and they will eventually need to find a suitable company to place me in. So far, I found that it's probably best to start off as a manual tester to get familiar with testing in general, and maybe gradually implement code and become an automation tester. The thing I'm specifically interested in are building data set or building testing data sets, building the code for testing, unit testing, and testing whether different parts of the code work together. Though I'm assuming that this is just part of one job, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, my question is, what is the best way from entry level software testing to eventually security testing and ethical hacking? Also, is security testing its own job, as in a specific career track, or is it more part of a is it part geez, these the grammar on these sometimes, or is it part of a more general job like unit testing maybe is? All right. So thank you for struggling with me through that question. Now, let's put 5 minutes on the clock. And we shall go with Don first. Security testing is a lot like QA testing with a different focus. I do both. Yeah. So I was thinking the same thing, right? Security testing and QA testing is just the focus. You know, you can be in QA and do security testing. It just depends on like how the company might break it down, right? But I would say that you kind of I do think that going in like you kind of have to get into QA first before you start expanding to different types of testing. But the problem is getting into QA is not easy either. Even as a manual testing job, which those don't really exist anymore, which had to break a few hearts letting them know that. But shout out to my other barbarian who asked me early, and I got him on the right track already. Right. Anyways, we'll save that. But security testing. So if you want to get into QA, like so you kind of have to go through QA. Which if you had like maybe cybersecurity certification and degrees and all that good stuff, you might be able to avoid like the QA route. But it depends on what type of security testing you're doing as well, right? Because there's like penetration testing, there's like database testing, all that type of stuff, right? Where people are trying to hack into the system. So it just depends which type of testing you're doing. But getting into QA, that is not as easy as you may think, right? Because so many people, they're applying for QA jobs and they cannot get it. My recommendation at times, which I shouldn't be giving this out publicly, but my recommendation is like sometimes you have to go through another route. Like you might have to go into another level of entry, maybe a help desk support, technical support, and then within that company, you try to jump around from there until you get to your QA job, and then maybe your security job, and then from that security job, then you might be able to now you can really start going to other companies and stuff like that because you have built your resume, you have built your experience. But without the experience, like when I was talking to that HR person, right? They said a lot of times your resume doesn't match what's being applied for, right? Your resume doesn't match the job you're applying for, and that's a big problem, you know. But if you don't have the experience, how is your resume gonna match? You have to start lower. You have to start at the bottom, like everybody else did. You think that boot camp is gonna give you a shortcut? You think getting that ISTQB certification is gonna give you a shortcut to the top? Doesn't mean anything to me. I like to see the experience on the resume to see like what have you done, what value did you bring, right? Even if like one of the mistakes that I think that boot camps make when they write your resume for you, they don't put it like a lot of them don't put your past experience. What have you been doing for the past 10 years, the past 20 years? You have like only 3 months of experience. And when I see that, I'm like, all right, not even bothering. So You got to take that into consideration. You have to, like, if your recruiter can get you into a QA position, whatever QA position they can get you into, take it. And then you start to learn from there. Study, get courses, practice. You know, you can't be like Allen Iverson, like, practice. We talking about practice? Yes, we always talking about practice. Always talking about practice. You get into the position, you learn the job there, and then you gotta spend like another 15 to 20 hours a week getting better on yourself, not only on the job learning, right? So let's see what Don has to say. Don says, if you are doing UI testing in web, you are sometimes asked to check OOP, top 10, and cores testing. Yup. Or OWASP, right? And Don said, I started in tech support just like I did. I also started in tech support. It allowed me to truly understand how users use the product, then jumped into QA. Facts. Shout out to Don. And when I started in tech support, it was for a web hosting company. So that taught me a lot about how things on the web work. And so, like, setting up like DNS, domain names, web hosting, how things are pointed to each other, who is records, all that stuff. This is from like about almost 20 years ago. And I'm still spitting this stuff out. I still use it because, like, when I'm setting up websites and everything like that, I know how to go into GoDaddy or whatever the registrar is, change the name servers, point it to a different place, set up the emails, configure configure like Outlook or whatever mail client I'm using to be able to put in the emails, all that good stuff, right? I still use it. But I would have been missing that information if I didn't start at the bottom. You know, let go of your pride, get some work done. And then Don also says, even though I request access to the support tickets, Slack, just to get better understanding our users. Facts. Like I said the other day, I think it was last Tuesday, I asked, what is the top priority of QA? Actually, it wasn't last Tuesday. I think it was the Tuesday before that. What is the top priority of QA? Like, what is your number one goal, right? Because I think the question was if you disagree with a product owner or someone on the team, right? And what's the main goal, right? And we had different answers, which they were very technical answers. But the answer that I gave was the number one priority is customer satisfaction. The customers pay our bills, so we have to make sure they're happy. So if you disagree with, if you can't agree on like a bug or a design decision or something like that, who cares? Like, try it out. If we're doing agile, we can change it. We can change it after we see that it's not working right. We change it. We adjust. We pivot. We move. Right? That's the goal, to make the customer happy. If they don't like it, and if enough customers say they don't like it, then we have to change. All right. So that's that. And does exercise the skills allow you to pay them bills? Facts.
Message.
We the best.
All right. Now let's continue and good guy, thank you again so much for that. I would have not have known. All right. So let's get to our next question.
Another one.
Wait a second. Have you guys liked the video yet? Like, getting all this great information you haven't liked yet? Come on. Like the video. Share the video with somebody who's going to find it useful. Maybe they need help on this next question about resumes, right? Subscribe to the channel. Help us grow, because the more we grow, the more the information gets out there. And then if you really want to level up your career in tech, but then again, maybe you just want to talk about it and not really move. But if you want to level up, join the Patreon. come get that amazing information that I'm sharing in there, right? Showing off my resume. I'm going to be showing off like how I update my LinkedIn, cool testing strategies, all of my templates that I use, all that stuff is going to be in there for you. So join the Patreon, level up. All right. So now let's get to our next question.
Another one.
What to put in the resume? I started studying testing a few months ago. I know it's early to start seeking any kind of job, but this is a thought that always crossed my mind. As a web dev, you can put a variety of project-like examples of your work. What do you put as a tester? Is there a way to auto-assign a user scenario, I'm guessing they're referring to yourself, or something like that, and use it as an example of your work style? Well, funny you may ask. I just mentioned about the QA portfolio, right? If you're a tester and you want to show off how you write your test cases, how you write your scenarios, how you write your bugs, how you do your test execution, you need to create a QA portfolio. And you bring you slyly bring it up in the interview, like, oh yeah, because in my QA portfolio, A, B, and C, and D, and they're like, a QA portfolio, what's that? Because guess what? It's never been heard of before, a QA portfolio, because I never heard of it until I thought about it, right? I wowed myself, right? I was like, damn, that's pretty cool, a QA portfolio. So going forward, look at the videos where I talk about it, where we go through live creating the installing Kiwi, and then we go through live writing some test cases for ASOS. We go through live writing a bug report. We go through live doing the test execution, all of that. And then we have other videos where we did side by side Python. This was like my earliest videos. They were they're pretty bad, but people like them, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were pretty good. But the point is, we did side by side. I think it was Uber Eats, right? Where we automated Uber Eats in Java and in Python side by side, right? So now you have something to add to your portfolio. You have automation. You have practice, right? And then we also had some videos where we were doing automation on what's that other website? We did. Did we do DoorDash? I don't know. I don't remember. But we did like different sites, right, where we did automation on, and all that. Like, because the thing is, for me at least, I want to see your code, right? I want to see the quality of your automation code, because like I'm more on the technical side, right? I am not good with the interpersonal stuff. I'm very interpersonal, but just like rating other people's interpersonal stuff, I'm not crazy about those interviews. But give me a technical interview, and I'll be in there all day, right? But I like to see the code. I like to see what's going on. And I like to ask you questions about it. Why did you do it that way? Oh, why is your driver that way? Oh, how did you like it? How long have you been using Python? How long have you been doing Java? And I can I can ask questions about your code, right? But maybe you're not that confident in coding yet. So that means you need to sign up for the Patreon, submit your code for a code review, and then I teach you how to do a pull request. And then we can actually, on the live stream, we go through it, we review, and I give you feedback, and then you make those feedbacks, and then you ask for more code review, and I give you more code review, right? Exclusively for the Patreon members, I'm doing code reviews, showing you how to set up your GitHub, how to do pull requests, how to create branches, all that good stuff. I even put the timer up on this one, but it's okay. It's okay. We don't need the timer on this one. We'll take it on the next one. All right. So let's see what Don has to add to this. I usually get A/B testing data to support and arguments I present. True. Yeah, that's definitely a way to do it. And just to give more context, because it was like, oh, what if you disagree? Like, what do you do if you disagree with your product owner, right? And or whoever the person might be. And I'm like you said, you give testing, like you give data points and like your perspective from the user, all that good stuff, right? But and then at the end of the day, if they say, and the answers that I was getting was, well, they're the product owner at the end of the day, all of that, right? Which, while true, um, but the quality of the product belongs to the entire team, right? The the product owner is not the end all be all. But if like we're at a standstill, I don't mind conceding, like because I'll say, okay, let's go it this way, and then we'll revisit it in a month, and hopefully, like I have no problem being like wrong, right? If it's the best way to go, it's because I care about the quality of the software and the satisfaction of the user, right? So if they like it that way, then I'm like, all right, cool, go with it, But if we go with it and then it's not it's like struggling along, it's not working like the way that we would want it to work, we're not getting the type of feedback that we would want to get, then I'll bring it up again. Hey, do you think we should try this? Should we try to adjust and everything like that? And if we adjust and it works, great. If they decide, oh, let's take another route, great. Because it's not about how I feel about it. I don't care. I don't feel anything, right? It's about the success of the customer, the success of the company, the success of the team, which ultimately leads to my own personal success. All right. So shout out to that. And what else? Don also says, oh, that's a small one. Let me make that one bigger. I usually automate the root website of the company I am interviewing with and present it as a sample to the hiring manager. Even better, sometimes when you find a breaking change and show them. Yep. That is a good strategy. The only thing that like it's like getting them to respond, right? But if you can find a way to contact them. Boo. I have to go get me a studio or something. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyways, yeah, but if you can get your work, especially if you have no experience, but like you can like, because I've seen people who like their resume doesn't match their experience, right? And I'm like, so we're trying to strategize on how we can get it there. So that is a good idea, Don. And I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to automate like some parts of the web of a company's website. And if you can't get it to the recruiter, try going straight to the hiring manager, and maybe they can go in and dig out your resume and tell the recruiters, hey, contact this person, right? So definitely gonna try that. Thank you for that recommendation. And let's go here. All right, let's go to our next one. But before we do that, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the Patreon to see all the amazing information that we have in there. All right, let's go.
Another one.
All right, this next one says, uncertain about industry requirements, recently fired software development engineer in test. All right. I recently found out in an unexpected situation. I was let go from my position while I'm working to move forward. While I'm working on moving forward, since I was mostly doing manual testing, I'm finding it difficult to gauge the current requirements and expectations for someone in my field. In my previous company, I was mostly into API and web UI testing. I have a fair bit of knowledge on Rest Assured, Selenium, and Java. When I've come across JDs on LinkedIn, on job descriptions on LinkedIn, I see that most of the companies expect UI, API, mobile with performance/security as a good to have. I'm I'm reaching out to this community for advice and guidance. If you have experience or knowledge about what employers typically look for in a 3-year software development engineer, any specific skills, certifications, or technologies that are in demand, I would greatly appreciate your insight. I'm eager to learn, improve, and adapt to the industry's changing landscape. Any advice, personal experience, or tips for job hunting in the tech industry would be invaluable to me right now. Shout out to that question. So I'm a little confused by the description, right? Because you say that you are a recently fired SDET. At the same time, you said you've mainly been doing manual testing. Somehow the two don't line up with each other, so I'm a little confused by that. But that's neither here nor there. Um, the Let me pull up the question again. So if I'm hiring, right? What is my nice to have as a hiring person? Like if I'm looking for a person, what's my nice to have? I would like someone who knows how to do everything. Yes, everything. I would love to have somebody who can do everything. But that is highly unlikely that I would find somebody who can do everything. So, what do? I'm going to list all those things out and I am going to try to find I'm going to find as close to as I can get with the best price in my budget, right? The most I can get with, the least that's going to cost me. But not small enough that I would be losing like let's say you get better and like or like the salary's not enough for you, but you need something, so you take it and then you keep applying and then you find something else and you leave and now I have to start from square one. So it's going to be a fair and competitive salary, right? But of course I'm going to ask that because if you know how to do it, then better for me. I can leverage that, right? So the so that's that part, right? So that's why you'll see all that stuff listed on it. But it's not like if you don't have performance and security testing, then you're completely like you're not getting a chance. No, it doesn't work that way. It's I'm gonna put all the things that I'd like to see, and maybe we can leverage that. So now like I said, the part I don't understand is you said you're a 3+ year SDET, but you said you mainly do manual testing. Those two don't really line up. Any specific skills? Definitely, like you said, some Rest Assured, Selenium, Java. Those are great. Get better at it. But I would also recommend, start looking into Docker. Start being able to run the Selenium grid, right? Use the Selenium grid and then set it up on AWS. Little projects that you can do that I've shown you guys. I've walked you through how to do these little projects, right? We did it together. We failed together. We succeeded together, right? But those little projects that you can do those little projects and then you get some hands-on experience into like the AWS realm, how to navigate AWS. You get some experience on using Docker, how to quickly set up a Docker container where you can run your test off of, right? Learn Jenkins. You can have that running locally, learn Jenkins. All those little tools that it makes you more marketable as a SDET, as a QA engineer. Those are the technology. Like, why do you think I'm going into Terraform? Why do you think I'm going into DevOps? Does that mean I'm leaving? I'm gonna stop being QA? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But I want to know what that does mean, right? When I'm working on my own projects with my own team, right? Outside of like my daily work, when I'm helping people like build their skills, get experience, all that type of stuff, right? I can help them learn those softwares, and then I can put them in a position to use them so they can be winning as well, right? Everything I do is with a purpose. So that like those are the technologies, like pretty much the way you figure out what you need to learn. You do a job search. You go on LinkedIn, right? You search for QA engineer. You see what the requirements are. You see what you have versus what they want, and then you go and you learn those things. Simple as that. It's not that complicated. I don't know why we make it such a complicated task, right? Find out what they want, find out what you have, and then you go get what they want, and then you add it to your resume, and then you apply. Because a lot of times, a lot of the companies are asking for the same things, but we make it such a complicated process. It's not that hard, all right? So Don says, imagine what you would want if you were hiring a QA engineer and become that. I just said that. I didn't even see what he said. I did not even see what he said. Shout out to Don. Like, great minds think alike, right? If you were hiring, like I said the other day, right? If you were hiring and you came across your resume, would you want to interview yourself? That's how you know if your resume is a crappy resume. Watch the crappy resumes video. But if you have a crappy resume or if you have a good resume, if you wouldn't even like want to interview yourself, then it's probably pretty bad, right? So, and Don says, you got to have I learn what I need to know and I do it fast attitude. Facts again. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to put in the work, Don. That's a lot of times that's what I see. They just want to give it to them, and then they can't find anything, and they're like,
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Yep. So the choice is yours, but like it's so easy to find out what you need to learn. And then now with the resources that we have, you can buy courses on discount on Udemy, or you can sign up for their monthly plan where you can get whatever courses you want. And then you can ramp up on those skills. Apply. So I don't know. Anyhow, let's move on. All right. Let's see here. Almost done for the night. So if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Help. Let's help each other out, because this information is amazing, right? It's fire. But why are you holding it to yourself? Share it. Let other people come get this amazing information so that they can also level up their career and quite possibly join the Patreon so they can accelerate their growth. All right. Link is right there and pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Next up. BDD hell. BDD hell. I just started a new project and all of the existing test cases are written in BDD format. I repeat, BDD format. Never used that before. What a horrible format to work with. Does anyone actually prefer this format? Well, so, how would I put this? At my current company, we use BDD for a lot of stuff, right? And before that, I didn't have anything against BDD, but I think what happened was at the company, like 2 companies before, I wanted to try to adopt BDD, and the engineering vice president, he was trying to get everyone to embrace BDD, and like they wouldn't. I read the book and I was like, oh, this is really cool. wanted to give it a try. The developers were not with it and everything like that. So I was like, okay, fine. Not gonna beat a dead horse. So I never like really got, and they were doing it through Cucumber and Java. At where I'm at now, we're doing Behave with Python. But I had it did grow on me, right? It grew on me a lot because I like the fact that I can read the feature file. So for those who don't know, right, BDD stands for driven development, right? So and you write the acceptance criteria in a way that is easily understandable by people who are not technical, right? So it's written in a way that technical people can process it, but also written in a way that non-technical people can understand what the goal of the feature is, right? So it has a syntax called gherkins where so you have a feature and you describe the feature. So let's say the feature is to log in successfully on the login page, right? So now it follows the syntax of given, when, then, right? So with that syntax of given, when, then, it'll say, so given I am on the login page, right, as your prerequisites, and I have a valid credentials, or I have a valid email address and I have a valid password. When I enter the email address into the email field and I enter the password into the password field and I click on the login button, then I should be successfully logged into the My Account section, and it should show my name or my account number in the top right corner, and I should have like a sign out link, whatever the expected conditions that you want to verify, right? So it's like preconditions, then it's like the steps that you follow, and then it's like the expected conditions, right? So the then is your expected conditions, your expected results, your when is your steps, and your given is your preconditions, right? So you can be able to run the test. So that being said, that's the syntax that it's written in, and it grew on me. But the thing is, right, the way that BDD was in the book, the way that it was like the way that it was intended to be used, so through the language they would use called Cucumber, when you would create that file that has like the feature file, then you should be able to automatically generate the methods, which I think that's part of like what the developers might not like, because in the names, and it might be like so much overhead for them, right? But the way that we use BDD is it's only, like from my understanding, it's only from the testing part, right? We write our test cases in a BDD format and in that Gherkins format, and then we write our functions, our methods, with those annotations, and then like so what I was able to do with that, right? Because something that I noticed was they would reuse the steps, but I was able to simplify the steps and create methods, and then I was like, oh, I can reuse a lot of these methods into other areas, and then create. So I would create a step like in the feature file. I'd create something, and then I would chain it together with a few different steps, right? That I'd just chain together, and that would be a whole separate step. So I'm able to do some really cool things with it. I don't mind it because it's just built into the system, and I like working with new technologies. Anyways, I have like it's easier for me to read, and the only problem that I kind of have with it, which it's probably just because it was initiated before I got there, but I'm probably going to clean it up at some point, is we end up having really, really long files because they have all the steps thrown into one file. And I think that you have the opportunity to break it apart and to better organize it. Better organize it. So like one way is to probably have all your whens together, all of your thens together, all of your givens together as part of a different file. Or you can probably do it by the type of test that's being ran and have it that way. So there's different ways to classify it. I haven't really given it too much thought, but that's definitely a possibility. I don't have a problem with BDD. I think instead of you freaking out about it, you should do some more research on it and try it out and see if it works for you. But instead of like just calling it BDD hell, You should try to figure it out and understand the why behind it instead of just like look at the format. Understand the purpose that it was understand the purpose behind why they created it. All right. So let's get some feedback from Don. Don says cut off a bit, but it says BDD is good for PMs, non-techie people. The report resonate well with those people instead of having a complex exception message. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I've seen that it does resonate well, right? And I like the fact that they're able to participate in the process, because part of BDD is having that trinity, right? You get the business analyst or the PM or the product owner, and then you have a developer, and you should have a QA person, right? And then they come up with like the requirements and the stories together, and then when you bring it into refinement, you go through all of that. So I I I totally agree with that, and it makes it to me like it does kind of make it easier for the outside people to understand what the outside tech people are doing. It makes them easier to understand what we're doing on the inside, right? And then Don says, "Perfect. Never have duplicate code. Always find ways to refactor and dry the code up." Yep, totally true. I'm always looking for that refactoring. Um, you know, especially like when working with the BDD, it was a just some things that I didn't know about it that like, and I saw the code. I'm like, oh, okay, let me see how I can figure that out. But I'm getting really good at it, and always looking for opportunities. I hate seeing duplicate code. It's like the plague. All right. So shout out to that. Shout out to Don as always. And we have another question resolved, checked off the list. All right. So we are finally at our last question for the night. Unless anybody else has questions, then we can also answer those. But let's move on. And before we move on, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, level up your career in tech, join the Patreon right here. The link is right here. And also pinned to the top of the chat. All right, let's do it. You guys ready?
It's time to do another one.
This question says, who should I approach? Well, I'll answer that for you right now. Tech Coach Ralph is who you should approach. All right. I don't even know what the question is, but the answer is always Tech Coach Ralph. All right. So the question is, thought about using LinkedIn to connect with potential people who may be able to offer QA work. If a QA manager does not exist, who else could I try to connect with? Possibly the product manager, the project manager? Amazing question. That is a great question. All right. So let's put our final countdown up. Who should you approach? I would say that you would and I've employed this strategy, and I've helped other people employ this strategy. It doesn't always work, right? But if you're not getting contacted anyways, right? Who cares? And if you like, let's say you're nervous about approaching somebody on LinkedIn and sending them a connection request or sending them a message, what's the worst that can happen? But they don't respond to you? Who cares? Like, you need something, so go ahead and approach. Right? And like Don said, he sent in his he'll automate parts of like the root part of the website, and he'll send it to hiring managers, or he'll probably just go and like, let's say he doesn't have contact with anybody in particular, he'll go and search LinkedIn for a company's people directory and look for a somebody in QA, maybe a QA manager. But the other people that I would also contact, right? Um, I would also contact. So I'd look for recruiters in the company, of course, right? Look for the hiring manager. I would look for the engineering manager. So let's say they don't have a QA manager, right? A lot of times the engineering manager can also be in charge of QA, right? Because we are QA engineers. So I'll look out for the engineering manager. Which that reminds me, I do plan to do a video in the Patreon how to spy on your how to spy on like how to stalk people on LinkedIn, right? That's gonna be a topic. How to stalk people on LinkedIn. Pretty much what this question is asking. How do you go and find the different people in the different positions at the companies that you're applying for? How to reach out to them? What's the best way? Do you you know like how to get in contact? Because when you need a job, right? You have to it's got to go all out. You can't be embarrassed. You can't be shy. You can't have what can't you have? You can't have
Message.
poopy pants, right? No poopy pants when you need a job. You got to employ every possible strategy for you to get noticed, for people to want to interview you. So that means you have to have that stellar resume. I got mine in the Patreon, right? Got to have that stellar resume. You got to have, you got to be ready to interview. You need to be confident, assertive, no signs of weakness, no poopy pants. All right. You gotta be there. Okay. You do your research. Like Don says, company intel, know who's who. Find who's the QA manager, find who's the engineering manager, find you can find a product owner. See, the project manager, it doesn't really help that much because they're not that involved. Like they're involved in the project, but not on the technical aspect of it. So to be able to have that type of pull. Find a scrum master. Find other QA people. I told my right hand the other day, I told Stephanie, I'm like, go and look at these people. Send them a message saying this. Send the other one a message saying that. Oh, there's an engineering manager here. Send him a message saying this, right? Oh, there's a recruiter. Now send this particular message. Will it work? I don't know. But you want to know what won't work? I can guarantee you this is not going to work. You want to know? Doing absolutely nothing. Sitting there and hoping that they will contact you. Especially when they have God knows how many people applying for a job. But let's say you're applying for a local job, right? And there's like 6 applicants. Maybe, I mean, if it's on LinkedIn, they say 6. It might be because the application is being sent off to a different location. Like you're not applying actually on LinkedIn. But regardless, right? If there's like a low number of applicants, that gives you a better shot of getting the job. So you have to go out there and make contact, network. It's about networking. I'll tell you this from me interviewing the HR professional for 20 years. She said that your resume is your introduction. It's you putting your best foot forward. Right? Do you treat LinkedIn as your resume, or do you just have a bunch of crap on it? Are you posting a bunch of nonsense about like complaining about how tough the job market is? Like when I see those on LinkedIn, I'm like, I wouldn't want to talk to this person. Think about it. Think about it, LinkedIn is very, very important. I told somebody yesterday, hey, you got to get your LinkedIn together. You can't just be putting this random description for your prior position. You gotta market yourself because they're gonna be checking your LinkedIn. And I'll tell you this as well. The last point before we sign off for the night, right? Recruiters for like recruiters in general, right? Like whether they're for a staffing agency, but recruiters for companies, they also use LinkedIn. And they'll reach out to you because my last position, they reached out to me and they told me to apply. They told me send in your resume here and apply and everything like that. And everything went through. I think my past two positions has been through recruiters, but when I was getting this last position, this last position that I was in, the I had other recruiters trying to get me to come work for their staffing agency. You know, but your LinkedIn is an extension of your resume. It might even be the preview, the precursor to your resume. So you got to get it right. You got to get it right. All right. Let's see if Don has anything to add before we wrap up tonight. He says, dude, I am so good at company intel gathering. Yup. I think we're good at intel gathering in general, but yes, company intel gathering, we know how to. And I'll tell you this: like when I'm ready, I'm gonna go and do some more intel gathering, not necessarily to apply for a company, but maybe to bring some people on to talk about talk about their positions and stuff like that. You know, but that's the same thing, like reaching out, networking. It's all about networking. The same way I was able to get the HR veteran, right? Networking. All right. And lastly, Don says, head of product is also good. Sometimes QA teams are direct reports to them in some organ. That is a good point. That is a great point. So, engineering manager, QA manager, other people in QA, maybe other engineers, the head of product, like the product director, those are great people to reach out to. All right. So hopefully that answered your question. And we have my friend Knight Callie saying, this is true. Networking is so valuable. Right, Knight? Knight Canty to be exact. Right, Knight Canty? Right? Remember? One little message that you posted somewhere and that changed everything, right? Knight Canty, you better not be like this.
The fact is that I don't remember.
You remember. I just wanted to play that soundbite. Anyways, and Knight, I'm proud of you. You did very good. And I told you had nothing to worry about.
I appreciate you. We the best. Let's get it. They ain't believing us.
Yep. So, my friends, my family, we have reached the end of the show. If, which I know you already did, right? So I don't really have to ask, but if you haven't liked the video yet, do so now. After all this great value, this great insight, Don here rocking with me. Good guy saving my life tonight. And then we had Knight show up at the end to say, I wouldn't have gotten my new role without your help. You know what? I was just there to give you a little bit of advice, but you did all the work. That was all you, Knight. I just gave you some pointers here and there, but that was all you. And I am super proud of you because you handled that interview like a boss. All right? But, like I'm saying, I'm going to get out of here. Like the video if you haven't done so yet. Share it, subscribe, or don't, whatever. We had a great time. If you don't want to rock with us, it is all good because I am building my crew and, become a tech barbarian. Sign up for the Patreon. Come level up. Come win with us. All right. But until next time, my friends and families, I will see you guys on Thursday night. Look out for the videos coming out tomorrow.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bowed before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. The spirit of our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, a charted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.
only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
We the best. I appreciate you. Another one. Let's get it. They ain't believing us.
Thank you for your patronage.